Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Water and Power Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. This proceeding is being broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. Board of Water and Power Commissioners, please say present for roll call. Commissioner NURIT KATZ.
Present.
President Richard KATZ. Commissioner LEHRER. Vice President MCGRAW.
Present.
Commissioner PINDER.
Present.
4 board members. A quorum is present. Mr. President.
Not much.
I don't know what that is.
Welcome, everyone, to the meeting of the DWP Board of Commissioners. Apologies for the late start, but we had a fascinating and important joint meeting, I think as most of you know, with our colleagues from Public Works on the Pure Water LA projects. And what was nice about it, in addition to the kumbaya feeling, was the fact that we were actually celebrating milestones achieved as opposed to plans being made. And it's always nice to be able to move out of the planning phase and into the construction phase and then operations. And so today was the day that all came together. So that's my apologies for the late start. Comments from commissioners? Public comment? Dante?
Sure. Public commenters, you will have 2 minutes to speak. Public comment is now open at this time. The first and only speaker is David Bolog.
David Bolog, Commissioners. I would like to talk about how this city hires its department's general managers. Being a GM is no easy task. It has traditionally required many years of experience in that department. Usually somebody who worked their way from an entry-level or a professional position and then into management. Being a department head / general manager or chief was once a civil servant position, but former LAPD Chief Daryl Gates' lack of communication and general disregard to elected city officials caused the council and mayor to change it to an appointed position. This makes sense because it gives elected officials a way to get rid of those who are not cooperating with them. The problem with this is that you have mayors bringing in people from the outside who did a similar job somewhere else, have the background that make them look like a great candidate on paper. But every one of those managers is missing that critical hands-on career experience with that department. I don't blame the candidate for taking the job. I don't blame them for asking for huge raises from what the last manager was receiving, or asking for perks that were never before available. I blame the person who did the hiring for not picking from a pool of candidates who will always be the best person for the job. That pool is the current management workforce that already exists in that department. They have years of experience, know how the place works, understands the cultures, and have already dedicated their life career to that department. That is where you're going to find your best general manager. I also want to bring to your attention how this negatively affects the morale of current workforce when they see somebody come in from the outside and not understand how we operate. It also says to those employees with the ambition to make the sacrifice to do what it takes to raise to the top that no matter how hard you work, you may never get there because you are not an outsider. It's a horrible message that the mayor has been sending to the city employees. My goal of this testimony is to have this become a topic of conversation with the public and with employees so that both can have deeper conversations on this subject and send a message to this mayor and future mayors that hiring the head person is most often best when they come pre-trained with the experience and dedication to that department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment is now closed at this time.
Thank you, Shante. Janice, our CEO and Chief Engineer.
Good morning, Commissioners. I want to first report an employee injury we had on March 14. One of our employees sustained serious injuries while working on Power Plant 1 refurbishment and repairs. During a trailer unloading operation, the trailer experienced a center of load shift while they were preparing for a lift. This resulted in the employee being pinned between the trailer header board and the needle valve housing. That needle valve housing weight was approximately 25,000 pounds. Because of this incident, our coworker was seriously injured and hospitalized, and they were placed in the ICU for several days. They are now in the rehab center to continue recovering, and they are surrounded by their families, friends, and fellow coworkers. We also have supported the employee with the assistance of the Employee Assistance Association's Down Workers Program, and we're working diligently on taking action to prevent incidents like this one from happening in the future. The immediate action taken by fleet is to leave trucks attached to the trailer or install a trailer jack for additional support when leaving a truck is not possible. The Central Repair and Fabrication Shops Group is using a lift plan for all heavy load picking and hoisting operations to assess uneven and changing loads. Longer term, we will go through a root cause evaluation, and additional recommendations on changes will come out of that and report it here. Next, I want to talk about the Better Watts Initiative event. We welcome the Better Watts task force on Friday here to talk about jobs at DWP. We work very closely with the WattsGAN task force during the HACLA issues on the lead in the water while we were supporting that community. And we welcome them. Our HR organization and others were there to talk about the jobs that we offer in the trades organization and the degree organizations. We also were able to tour the water quality lab where a lot of the samples from Watts were taken during that response. On the Pacific Palisades rebuilding effort, let's talk about power restoration. We have set about 905 power poles on the Palisades, and as of yesterday, only 29 services in mostly hard-to-reach areas are left to be energized. We also began undergrounding work on the Palisades last week on a no-regret section of the power system in the area. And I want to thank all the crews for their continued hard work as we continue to help the Palisades rebuild. On the fire hydrants, we received a list of about 1,350 fire hydrants that needed repairs, and as of yesterday, we had addressed all of the fire hydrants on that list and started an additional repairs for the 2025 inspection period, bringing our current total to 1,418 hydrants. They did this work in nearly half the amount of time that was initially estimated, and so I'm also wanting to congratulate the water crews for their work that they perform. We also conducted our March town hall, and it was highlighting our IT organization. They did an amazing job during the fire response, supporting our crews, both water and power, and providing GIS tools to help us manage the response with data-driven decision-making. So Justin Saris from IT was there. We also had Alina Cummins talking about Workday deployment. We are in the middle of dress rehearsals starting yesterday. And so our organization's able to go in the system and test it and work with it before we deploy on June 16th. Also, I want to update that CAL FIRE updated the fire hazard severity zone maps yesterday. And the results show that for the city of LA, there was a 7% accuracy increase on very high severity areas and 24% increase in high plus moderate severity areas. And total Southern California increased about 3.5 million acres impacted by the CAL FIRE maps. So that will go into a wildfire mitigation plan and be updated accordingly, and how our measures are going to move in the future. And then I want to pass the mic to Ann, because she's going to talk about our bonding rating agencies.
Good morning, Commissioners. On January 28th, the Board approved Resolution 5068, authorizing and directing staff to expeditiously negotiate and execute amendments to the Department's current liquidity facility providers to lower the events of termination and default risk threshold from A to BBB, to avoid additional costs and risk of such provisions being activated. As of today, I'm happy to report that all 7 banks have executed those agreements.
Excellent.
That's good.
That's all I have.
That's all you got? Okay. That's all?
That's all.
No. I'm going to add also, Janice and David and I went out and visited with our employee, who looked remarkably well for someone who was on the receiving end of a 22,000-pound height. But from what we were told also, our crews out there knew exactly, I mean, they did everything according to the book. They jumped on it, and they were responsible for him being in as good a shape as he is. It's going to be a long recovery, but he's expected to make a full and complete recovery. And his family was there, and he was getting the kind of attention that we all wanted him to get, and that you all wanted him to get. So wish him a speedy recovery on that.
May I add to that comment? When you were speaking, I really want us, and anyone that hears this is a workforce. You see people sitting here, they're in suits, they look nice, they're da-da-da. This is a dangerous business, first of all, that we're in. The equipment, the power, people are electrocuted. All kinds of things happen to our people. When I was an attorney here, the first case they threw at me, it was ready for trial, one of our workers falling out of, we call it a cherry picker. I barely knew what a cherry picker was. So my first introduction is that things happen to our employees. And the one thing about this organization is we stand with them. So even while I was sitting here, I just put a few circles down. And the few circles represent when you get hired here. You're very happy. You know what's coming. And then if you're fortunate, you have a long work history, and it is a happy one, and you advance. You start low and you go high. And that's important. And then I'm on the retirement board for the commission. I'm the only commissioner representing you. And then we have that long period of your life and your value. And even when you cross over to death, if you have a loved one that is tied into that, that keeps on for you. And I think it's important that people realize this is not just, all of us talking heads here. So even for that employee and the other employees that have been injured, and for your going KATZ, and for all of you going, let us again clap for what we do for our people here.
Thank you. All right. Dr. Pickel, you moved again. You're back, okay.
Back in the usual spot.
I appreciate that.
I have supporting comments for item 1. And also, I will save them for the item, but also supporting comments for item 19.
All right, we will get to them shortly. But since you messed up the way I was going to do this, I'd like to take, without objection, item 19 out of order and present a well-deserved thank you to Dr. Pickel, who, as we know, has been leaving for about a year now. And
the search process started March 17th, 2023.
been leaving for several years. No, and which is fine with us. I mean, if you stayed for another 5 years, we'd be perfectly happy, because you have brought, insight and reason and common sense to a process that on a good day is difficult and complex and confusing. So we are grateful. I know I have benefited from your insights and your wisdom. I may not have always agreed with you, but I always respected what you had to say. And I knew that whatever you were saying, it came from the right place, that you care about the people in LA, you care about the department and the people who work here, and you care to make sure that we all do this correctly, and we are very, very grateful. So on behalf of the commission, I'm going to make a presentation to you. You should probably come up here for it, or we should go wherever you want us to go.
That's fine.
And I'm sure somebody up here has something else to say, but I wanted to present this to you, Fred, with our greatest appreciation and gratitude.
Thank you.
Thank you. you. And I think also,
And I'm happy to have helped.
you're more than help. Let me turn one around. Maybe that way.
You're not going to read it?
And
We got to get the seal.
get all the commissioners up here too, please.
It moves so the seal's in the middle. There we go. Thank you. Then they get that all the way.
Wilma?
Wilma!
You don't have to confuse yourself on this one.
Come a little closer. You can stand a little bit sideways. There you go. Go a little closer.
This is yours, not mine. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
I
no.
wanna read it afterwards, sure.
I haven't gotten to read it either.
Okay. You read it first.
But as everybody knows, I think Fred has done an extraordinary job, and he has, hung in there as the city, powers that be at the city council are completing the search for his replacement. Obviously, it's not easy. They would have done it already. So, but we are grateful for your extended stay, Fred, and want to just, again, thank you very much.
We are joined in the room by one of the key people working on that process, Blaine Sutton-Willis of the CLA, who has been moving that through the typical tangles of city bureaucracy.
You didn't say expeditiously, but that's not his fault. I mean, we understand that. We understand. Thank you, Blaine.
May I add a comment?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to say the fact that it has been taking 2 years to find your replacement just shows how irreplaceable you are and the level of expertise that you have brought to this position as an advocate. And we really thank you for your service. This resolution will formalize our gratitude into the record. But, just heart to heart, I really have appreciated the high level of technical expertise and the thoughtfulness that you have brought to this position and all of your guidance throughout my time here on the commission. So thank you.
Yeah, my favorite line so far is, due to the length of meetings and Dr. Pickel's kindness, he was admired for standing his ground after single-word answers, puns, or humorous quips.
Yes, of uncommon sense. We definitely do appreciate that.
Okay. All right, moving along. We're going to pull.
1 second.
I believe some of the divisions also have some items
I'm
for
sorry.
gratitude for Dr. Pickel. One of the things that we did for financial services is we don't have printed bonds anymore, but since Dr. Pickel's start at the department, we have issued $22,202,135,000 worth of bonds with Dr. Pickel's help. And, basically, the purpose of issuing these bonds was to finance capital improvement projects, refinance past debt for savings and restructuring. And in addition to these transactions, Dr. Pickel educated and worked with many stakeholders on the department's rates, investments, and business decisions. Dr. Pickel's support of these financial programs has provided ratepayers with responsible and cost-effective financing for the department. So we've put together a plaque for you, Fred, to thank you so much for all your help and service.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to work with the FSO organization.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to pull item 1. We're going to take item 1 separately. And then also, Commissioner Pinder is going to recuse herself from items 2 through 8. We'll get to that.
All right, thank you.
All right. We'll go to item 1, sir.
Item 1, excellent. Dr. Pickel, you said you had some comments on item 1. Could we hear those first?
Yes. One of the major projects during my tenure was benchmarking costs and other activities. And one of those key studies was a functional cost benchmarking study that was released at an inauspicious time, August of 2020, so that it landed with silence. But it had key recommendations, including 5 key components, 2 of them involving personnel issues in terms of helping building esprit de corps in the organization as people move up to management, but also solidifying the steps other than financial to bring people forward. And it was intended to start with the top level and work their way down. One of the steps was taken out of order, and that was improved salaries for a lot of MEA classifications. But taking care of the top level was one part of that hadn't been addressed. And item 1, I believe, helps take us forward on that.
Okay.
Excellent, thank you. So I just have some comments on this item before we move forward with voting. First off, thank you for the additional time and letting us pull that from last week and for making yourself available to take us through that presentation and answer questions. I'm really grateful to you and for your team for all the work you did to kind of help us understand both what was encompassed in the original contract, what's been finished, and how much work there is left to do and how important it is. So thank you. That being said, I'm going to vote no on this item today, and since I've never voted no on an item in front of you all before, I thought I'd go ahead and explain my reasoning. I have 3 primary concerns with this contract. The first is its sort of its nature as a sole source contract and its sort of foot in the door nature. Sole source contracts are often necessary, and I support their use broadly. But their scope, if you were going to define a sole source contract, needs to be really well understood from the very beginning. And the fact that we're looking at a 300% increase on a given contract here that's sole source just tells me that it wasn't properly scoped at the beginning. And having understood the contract better, it seems like there are some distinct lines of work here that we could potentially break out. And I am supportive of a smaller amendment to the contract focused on closing out the enterprise planning, acknowledging especially that we did some unanticipated work, really good work with Korn Ferry around enterprise planning and executive team function around emergency preparedness and emergency response that I think could not have been better timed. And I've said before here at the dais how proud I am of our response to the wildfire emergency and how grateful we were to have you leading that response because of your professional background, which I think completely changed the game for us in that scenario. But the other 2 reasons I'm voting no on this and asking us to reconsider supporting this is that I do think that we need to look at the scope of the contract and consider both board engagement and, for the contracted party, their depth of experience with municipals, especially things like our civil service system, open procurement processes, and our uniquely symbiotic relationship with our labor partners, which from the work that I've seen so far doesn't seem to be as emphasized as I would like to see in work like this strategically. Lastly, I'll say that Korn Ferry may be the right choice to do this work. And it may be that we go to an open procurement process and they win the contract. And this is not a vote of no confidence in their ability to conduct the work. But I'm voting on no because I think there's an opportunity here to kick the tires on this contract before jumping into the work of supporting, Dave and the power system and organizing themselves for success, ensuring that there's just the right experience on municipal utilities and our unique operating environment from that contracted party. And I think we need to go to market and have a competitive process that helps us understand and ensure that we're working with the right party. Finally, I'll just say, I realize that this is a relatively small contract in the grand scheme of things. And as Fred pointed out at the last meeting, it's possible with contracts like these to harvest, even decimal points of efficiency that may yield lots of dollars. I think the work that we're proposing to do here is super important, but like any public agency, the way we do that work is also important. And I think I have a different vision for how this work should be conducted, and I'll be voting no for that reason.
May I add a couple points?
Please, sure.
One, overall personnel costs, including benefits and pensions for DWP, is approaching $3 billion per year. And one of the things we identified in that functional cost benchmarking study was DWP was significantly understaffed and underspending in the executive suite. So, and the other component of that is power in particular. One of the 5 things, power especially needs help. So, component of that was that. Another fact that may cause something to be thrown at me from the back row over there with CAO and CLA is the search was delayed in part because we looked at other search firms that were chosen out of the whole HR pool, and they did not have qualifications in this industry. Korn Ferry had clearly the best experience in this industry, in the HR area, and they apparently, I wasn't aware of it, but they built expertise in headhunting in general that had a long time, but other HR areas in the past few years. So I think they do have the qualifications to handle this.
I appreciate, in particular, you're speaking up, because I'm, like my commissioner, was pretty much on the line about this, not showing which way I'd go. I was familiar with Korn Ferry and others, but I still needed to know how it focused on DWP. Your remarks helped me know how I'm going to vote, and that's why we have you here.
And the other component is these recommendations were made in 2020, and there's been little progress otherwise. So I believe time is of the essence on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to add to Dr. Pickel's comments. First, thank you, Commissioner McGraw, for sharing these concerns. I do respect and value them. I think given the urgency of this work, which this board has spoken to clearly over time, as well as the additional background from Dr. Pickel about the process that went into the selection of this firm. Although I do think there are lessons to be learned for the future around sole source contracting, as Commissioner McGraw has mentioned. I think in this particular case, the urgency of the work, the importance of this work and the impact give me serious concerns about restarting any sort of contracting process, especially knowing how long that RFP process can take. I do have confidence in the current effort, and having reviewed some of the results of this organizational effort, I think it would be important for us to continue. So those are my comments on this item before we move to a vote. I don't know if Dr. KATZ President KATZ or anyone else has comments.
Anybody else? Okay, is there a motion and a second?
I will make a motion to approve item 1.
And I'll second. Aye.
Would you like me to call the roll?
Yeah, we'll call a roll. But, Mia's already an aye, so.
I will call her.
I do think that Dr. Pickel's, comments are really important, valuable, and I might have been convinced anyway, I think, but I think this does it. Thank you.
Commissioner NURIT KATZ,
Aye.
President KATZ,
Aye.
Commissioner LEHRER,
Aye.
Vice President McGraw,
Nay.
Commissioner PINDER,
Aye.
4 ayes, motion adopted.
Thank you. We're going to move on now to, we have items 2 through 8, which Commissioner Pinder is going to recuse herself on. So,
Thank you.
anybody want to?
Motion to approve items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All members present, which right now is 3 of us. 4 of us. The math confused me, I'm sorry.
I was hiding.
All 4 of us is aye votes. Shante? Okay. Let's move on now to items 9 through 13? No, 9 through
19.
19.
Motion to approve items number 9 through 19.
Without objection. We have a motion and a second. Without objection, all members present. Shall be adopted.
Motion
Or
adopted.
whatever I was trying to say. Okay. Shante, what else have I got?
Oh, H, management reports.
Management reports?
Yes.
We don't have any.
Don't all speak up at once. Okay. Moving along.
I, committee activity.
Nada.
Okay. J, filed items. K, minutes.
Minutes from the last meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes from our previous meeting.
Second?
Motion and second. Without objection, all members present. Aye. That shall be adopted.
L, motions for future consideration. No discussion with neighborhood councils. That concludes open session.
All right. In that case, we will look to the city attorney for the magic words.
Sorry, you caught me making notes here.
Okay.
The board will recess into closed session pursuant to the California Government Code to discuss two litigation matters. The first one is Janicki Demisi versus City of Los Angeles. That is Los Angeles Superior Court case number 23 STCV 23506. And the second matter is the Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceeding involving Soco West, Inc. And the bankruptcy court case number is 23-13575.
Okay. We will recess into closed session.
mic is hot, so please don't speak, okay? Closed session has recessed back into open session. The time that we're beginning open session is 12:03 p.m. General Counsel?
Thank you. This report will describe what occurred in closed session. The first matter is a case entitled SoCo West, Inc., bankruptcy case number 23-13575. The board consented to the adoption of a resolution that concurs with the city attorney's decision under Charter Section 271A to file a claim against SoCo West, Inc. in its bankruptcy proceedings to recover damages incurred on the Vernon property, and conversely, approve the city attorney's recommendation to decline filing a CERCLA CER-CLA claim for the contamination in the Tahunga well field caused by SoCo West. The vote was unanimous. In closed session, also on the matter entitled Janaki Domisi versus City of Los Angeles and Mercury Insurance Company, Los Angeles Superior Court case number 23 STCV 23506. The board consented to the adoption of a settlement for $500,000 for one plaintiff plus $500,000 for the second plaintiff, totaling $1 million. The vote was unanimous.
Both motions were carried. Do you consent to the adjournment?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 12:04.